I'm guessing that you already knew that, which is why you clicked on this video. For those of you who don't know, I'm referring to student loans. So if you're one of the millions of people out there who's responsible for paying back your student loans, then this video is exactly for you. Throughout the video, I'm going to be giving you one strategy for you to implement that will help you build momentum, which in return will help with you paying off your student loans in a quicker amount of time. But before we get into the video, there is something that I would like you to do. So one, I need you to understand that you can only start where you are. And what that means is that you're going to embrace, acknowledge, and accept your current financial situation and then apply this strategy to that. Don't get caught up in the amount of money that you have to contribute. Just know that you have some money to contribute and then you will start there. As you continue to build momentum throughout implementing this strategy, that will free up some more cash flow, which will allow you to apply more to your debt. If you're like, okay, girl, I got it. Yeah, I took notes. Now what? Show me, tell me, what is it that I have to do? It's so simple. It's not rocket science. It's easy to do as long as you commit to doing it. It's just as simple as looking at your account, seeing how much money you have, and then making a payment then and there. So I typically make my payments on a Sunday just because I have time to go over everything. And when you guys decide to implement this, there are a few things that you have to do on the front end. One is you have to commit to making several payments throughout the month. The other is you need to pick a day where you sit down with your finances on a weekly basis to assess how much money you have to throw towards your debt. And then the last thing is, this is like optional, but I prefer to operate out of one account just so that the process is streamlined too. So for instance, being that we're talking about student loans, my student loans is connected to my sinking funds account. So I'm going to use strictly that account. Now, if you have other accounts, you are more than welcome to obviously take time to look at those accounts, assess how much money you have, and then call and make a payment. Or if they happen to be linked to the account that you are referring to, just make sure that when you go in and you're making payments that it's coming from the account that you want it to come from. When it comes to this can be applied to any type of debt that you have, as well as if you want to save. So if you're going to apply it to a saving situation, obviously you would just be depositing it into whatever account until you reach that amount. For me, I'll use my example. So as of right now, I have $31,504.93 to pay back in student loans. On Sunday, I sit down, I look, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I have $300 some this week. So I make a payment right then and there. Also keep in mind how long it takes for things to process. Before I make a payment, I am a big fan of mapping out your bills so that you can easily just look at your phone and see like, oh, okay, I have 4 or 5 bills coming out this week, or I have 6 bills coming out before I get paid again. This money is already accounted for. So yes, it's in my account, but it's not necessarily free funds for me to go out and spend. So once you know how much money you have to allocate towards that, then obviously you just go in and make the payment. So on the screen here, just recently, I made a payment for $23.92. Like, I don't care how small the payment is, make the payment. Right before that, I made a payment for $331 and something cents. So this is outside of my standard student loan payment. So currently, update, my student loan IDR plan had recently ended, and so I got a new one. My payments happened to go down to $346. I don't know. I'm not asking questions. The real question is, how do I make more money now, but yet I'm paying less? I don't know if that has something to do with Biden and the way that he restructured things, but it really doesn't matter because I plan on paying these student loans all off by the end of 2024. Hold me to that. If I don't, say you failed. No, I'm just kidding. But I do plan on paying these off by the end of 2024, which is why I kind of operate the way I do in regards to how I go about the current debt that I have and certain things that I choose to still invest in and do while paying off debt. But back to the situation at hand. So with that, it's not about how much you're contributing just yet, being that you're just starting off and things like that. It's a matter of you getting in the habit of regularly checking in on your finances and then acting immediately. So as you may know, like, we all know a lot of things, but we don't necessarily implement those things. The key is in the implementation of this simple strategy. I use this to pay off my 5-year car loan within a matter of 18 months. So I did start this process when I was paying student loans before we had our forbearance. This has worked for me. It works. So therefore, I'm preaching it in order to help somebody else so that they might do the same thing. Don't get caught up in how little or how much the payment is. Just commit to doing it on a weekly basis. Hold yourself accountable for doing the simple things, and just know that in the long run, it's going to work out in your favor. So going back to the momentum that I was talking about, it takes a while to get it started, but I promise you, when you catch momentum, you be like, dang, like, normally I'm only making 4 payments a month. I've boosted that up to 6, 7, 8 payments a month. So whichever, you'll start off with, 1 day of committing to that. And then you might turn around to committing to 2 or 3 days a week where you sit down, assess your finances, and then make a payment right then and right there. I think too, that also eliminates me from spending extra money on other things that I don't necessarily need, that's more out of a want. It's working in benefit towards me because I'm gonna pay off the student loan balance far quicker than what I have imagined. So if you want to know a little bit about my student loans, I'll talk about that. So I currently have 3 student loans. One of them is $13,000, one is $14,000, and one is $5,000. That's a little different because obviously I've made a few payments. That's why my balance is lower than the $32,000 that I started off with. So one of the payments is scheduled at $142.53. One is scheduled at $50.77. And then one is scheduled at $153.49. Those of you that may be new to the student loan world, you accrue a certain amount of interest every day. And if you happen to have Aid Advantage, if you go in and you click on the tools and requests on the left-hand side, you can go in and calculate under interest estimator how much interest you're accruing on a daily basis, on a bi-weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Like, you just change the amount of days. So while we're on here, let me go in and see. So on a daily basis, I accrue $1.98 for my loan that's $13,000, 72 cents for my loan that is $5,000, and then $2.27 daily for my loan that is $14,000. So now I'm gonna go down to 31 days and calculate that same thing. So for the loan that is $13,000, that's $61.41 a month in interest. For the loan that's $5,000, that is $22.45 in interest each month. And then for the loan that is $14,000, it's $70.51 in interest. So you can easily see how, if you're only making that minimum payment, just why things are drawn out. So one thing I know with Aid Advantage, being that I've made 2 payments outside of my regular scheduled monthly payment, they apply a portion of that to interest, but majority of it does go to your principal. So this is something new, because before I used to have Fed loan, and all of the amount that I applied outside of my normal scheduled monthly payment, that used to go to the principal alone. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna have to call them and see, like, is there some way that I could go in and change that? Because if I could, I would like all of this money to go towards my actual principal. But as a whole, I think that that is such a great tool. I know Fed Loan did not have that tool so that you could go in and estimate the amount of interest that you owe. But within that being said, that's another reason why I like making multiple payments throughout the month, to obviously decrease how much money is being accrued each month on that loan. So ideally, once you make a payment and your balance decreases, the amount of interest accrued would decrease as well, because you have a specific percentage, well, interest rate that is allocated for how much interest is accrued on that loan. But it's not over the whole entire loan. It's the specific loan amount that you have right then and right there. So if you're one of those people and you're now wondering which loan to start off with, you can take two approaches. So you have the debt avalanche approach, and then you have the debt snowball approach. I like to take the debt snowball approach just because I feel that it builds momentum quicker. The debt avalanche is where you order your debts from highest balance to lowest balance, and the snowball is from lowest balance to highest balance. And then you have those people in between that just pay off their debt based off of the interest rate that is attached to that debt. So they'll take the one with the highest interest rate and then go from there. So if you have credit card debts and things like that, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I were in your shoes, which I kind of am, I would apply the money, the extra money that I have, first to paying off the credit card debt. Credit card debt is usually somewhere about 17% to about 30% in interest. So therefore, that's extremely high compared to student loans, which is somewhere around like 2%, probably up to about 7%. But yeah, now that you guys know this simple yet easy and effective way of paying off debt or savings, I want you to go out and apply it. And in the comments below, tell me what you think of it as a whole, or if there's something that I explained that you didn't quite get. But as usual, take time to enjoy your own journey, and I'll catch you guys in the comments into the next video. Bye.